Hi, I'm on my way home from my first French class of this semester of this section. I am currently taking a B2 class. If you don't know what that is, it's split into A1, A2, B1, B2, and C1 and C2 levels. And what that means is A1 and A2 are basically Duolingo level. Like if you get through all of Duolingo, you'll get probably into A2 level. B1 and B2 is where you learn conversational stuff. You learn how to understand what people are saying. You start out with basic conversation level stuff, and then by the end of B2, you are basically fully conversational. If you complete B2, you can say you speak French. You may never be comfortable with your level of fluency, but that's a different story. You will be able to speak French. You'll be able to carry on conversations not just in the present tense, but hopefully in the past tense and in the future tense. Also, like conditional tenses. You'll be able to say things in French like, if I was to go to the store, I would get some bananas. Things like that, which is very useful. C1 and C2, those are essentially fully fluent. If you can complete a C1 course, you are essentially fluent, and C2 means you could read the news. You could write a novel in French. So that's the idea. So I'm taking a B2 class. So I'm at the high end of the B level, and I'm trying to get to the point where I can get a B2 level done. Fine, great, cool. There's holes in my French that I need to fix. And certainly mastering the tenses is weird, because in French there are whole other tenses that do not exist in English or other languages. Really, just mastering the variations on the subjunctive and the conditional present and the conditional past and the plus que parfait and all of these things, and just knowing exactly when and how to use them is it's an ordeal, and you just have to figure it out. Like you just have to brute force figure it out, because many of those tenses don't exist in any way in English. So you just have to work it out, which is fine. That's why I'm here. So this is my third class that I'm taking through the city of Paris, because the city of Paris offers these classes. They're not free, but they're certainly at a greatly reduced rate. And it's 2 nights a week, 60 hours, like over 3 months or so. And tonight was the first night of my B2 class. So I'm taking the second half of the B2 class, which means that by the end of this, I will be proficient enough in French that I should be able to pass the citizenship French proficiency test. That's the goal. But this is the third class I've done. The other 2 classes were done I had the same instructor for the other 2 classes, and she was wonderful. I would recommend her for anybody. I suspect she does one-on-one tutoring, and if not, she should. If Marianne has 1,000 fans, I am one of them. If she has 1 fan, it is me, and if she has no fans, then I am dead. She's great. She was a hard act to follow. None of us were expecting somebody similar. This instructor is a very different animal. She's quite dry. I get the sense that she's quite new. She's not as outgoing, which is fine. We have to learn how to talk to everybody, not just really demonstrative teachers who just happen to have lived in England for 10 years, so they kind of knew. So we know that. It's not like she doesn't know her stuff. She absolutely does. But the first class, the first class, we went around. We each introduced ourselves in like a 45 second little, hi, here's my name, here's what I do, here's where I'm from. There were 21 of us in the class, which is a large class. I suspect there's going to be some attrition, but even at that, and that takes however long it takes. And then after that, she launched straight in. She did a handout, which we read in silence for about 15 or 20 minutes, and then answered some questions. Then she did a slide presentation on various tenses, like 4 different conditional tenses. Now, we know what those tenses are. We're learning about usage. This class is going to be about learning how to use those things and use them properly. But she just burned through them. She just blazed through them. And she was just literally just reading. She'd show a slide and then read the text and then go to the next slide and then read the text and then go to the next slide. And I'm thinking, we have to figure out how to share these. We need to share them, because I want to go back and read them. I want to go back and look at the notes, because I can't write notes. Nobody was writing notes fast enough. And about halfway through, she was like, you know what? Why don't you take a picture of this, of each of these slides. All right, fine. I'm wary of anybody pulling their phones out, especially in a B22 class. That's not going to go well. Like, she's got to share this stuff in printouts, or she's got to put it up online somewhere so we can see them. You know, something. It was fine. She just went through like 4 different tenses, like basically what is, I hope, the entire curriculum of this course in about a half hour. And she was just talking and talking and talking. And it was just like, this is insane. And she didn't get through everything before we got to 8:30 and people were like, I gotta go. And everybody left. The part of this that's my fault is that my phone wasn't fully charged. And so I'm taking pictures and then at a certain point my phone just dies. I will know this time and every time after this to charge my phone to 100% before I get there. But it does mean that I have to walk home. So this is me walking home from class because my phone is dead. I can't get on the metro, and so this is just a honking big mess. It's all right. We've got tonight's class, there's another class on Thursday, and then we have 2 weeks off because it's the vacances, it's the winter vacances, and that's good because next week my son is getting his tonsils out, and what that means is, well, it's gonna be a lot of ice cream and Miyazaki movies. But tonight was okay. Also, we're in a classroom that is made for first graders. Like, it's literally kitted out with first grade stuff, and the chairs are tiny. They're not as bad as I feared they would be, but certainly some of the taller people are going to be uncomfortable for the entire time. I suspect that there's going to be some people leaving, and I just feel very sad about that because we've got a little cohort of people from the last class that are taking this class together, and we're really hoping to keep the group together. Maybe I'll feel better about this tomorrow, but good God, I'm just going to have to start recording things in class. And again, it's fine. Like, she seems perfectly okay. She clearly knows what she's doing. I feel like she's just a little less experienced and a little less demonstrative. We'll just have to connect with her in a different way. Like, she's quite nerdy, and I can vibe with people like that. We'll see.